Welcome to today's video. I am the Hooded Lid and I have a new product for you today. I have shot this before, in fact this morning, and I started to sweat and I put it in my computer and thought, well, let's do it tomorrow. But then it seemed like, I don't know, it might have cooled down a little bit, or I don't know, maybe it was just that period of time when it goes from cool-ish at 80 to warmer at 85 and I started to sweat, but I'm giving it another go, even though it's later. I am wearing this to keep me cool. And I have another one on my lap to keep me cool. And fingers crossed, we can get this done without sweating. What am I doing today? I am doing the Rare Beauty. This is the foundation. This is the concealer. Before we put this on the face, I thought I'd do some swatches because the biggest issue that I'm having is color. And that's the biggest issue that I saw when I saw some videos online. So all I'm doing is the swatches. Let's just talk. There's a doe foot applicator and it is pointed. I follow very few people. I follow like 34 people and not all of those people are in fact beauty YouTubers. But I noticed that several people that I follow did videos on this, which was really interesting to me because these people get PR, and yet most of them actually, they're not review channels who just everything they get, they go ahead and do a review on. They were all interested enough to do something. And it all came out at the same time, which is also really interesting. I think the PR company said, here's our stuff. They sent everybody 3 foundations and a couple of blushes and a couple of lips. Please don't do it before this date, and our release is this date. And it was really well done. Everybody was reviewing this line, and it wasn't a line I was interested in. When I saw it on Trend Moons, I kind of rolled my eyes thinking, you know what, just because someone puts makeup on you doesn't mean that you have the credentials to produce a makeup line. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's kind of over it, and that's where I had it. In the back of my head, I also had going on that Selena Gomez, she's 28, her fan base is quite young. Obviously, she is leveraging her fame to her audience. So the line is not likely to be something that will work for me, someone who's in their 50s. And look, I had the same thing about Fenty. When Fenty came out, I'm like, I don't think I'm the demographic for this. And I was right. Fenty's foundation was for oily skin. And I was like, In fact, I did end up trying it a couple of years later, and it was drying, and it did oxidize, and I was right. But Fenty did kind of up their game and came out with that hydrating foundation, which works beautifully on drier skin and older skin. So kudos for her. But I wasn't sure Selena was going to do the same thing. Nobody really spoke about, from the videos I saw, what it felt like. One person did. And that's why I got the foundation. But they all had a problem with the color. So I wanted to do some swatches for you. The number I ended up getting is 200C. And I will tell you a little bit about that story in a minute. Then we have Bite L40. Then we have the Fenty 230, the Fenty Hydrating. And then we have the Makeup Forever Reboot in Y315, which is my favorite foundation right now. And I had looked this up on Sephora and felt that 210N would work for me and for neutral, but it was really, really warm. Really interesting. My Sephora has these clear palettes now, and what they did was they took a palette and put a little bit of the foundation color on and then held it up to my face. This is kind of a brilliant way to get an idea. Unfortunately, they also took off the doe foot applicator so they couldn't get too much product. But we, after trying like 3 or 4 colors, decided on this one. And the reason I was really interested in the foundation, by the way, has a ball in there, shake this up, was because Mariah Leonard said she's never felt anything like this before. It was an unusual kind of a serum foundation. And I thought, I wonder if she's ever tried the Dior Air Nude, which I love. That one looks like this. You cannot, it doesn't have a shaker in it, but you need to shake it. And it looks beautiful on the skin. It's incredibly lightweight. And Mariah was saying this was so lightweight she didn't feel it on the skin. And I thought, you know what? I want to try it to see if it's the same. I'm going to say they're not the same. That one comes in a drop applicator and it's thinner. When I put it on the face, it runs. And this one is a little bit thicker. Because it comes in a doe foot, I cannot tell if it's as thick as the Makeup Forever, because Makeup Forever is in a pump, but I think it's thinner than that. Now, this is a cool color, you guys. This does not look cool to me. This looks peach to me. And the neutral, the 210 neutral I tried on, that was not neutral. So, all the things that I've seen so far, I gotta say the color is a problem. But all the things that I've seen so far have been women in their 20s. Nobody above their 30s I've seen look at this. So I thought I'd take a point of view of, you know, someone who has older skin. How's this going to work? It's true that it does feel very light on the skin. And now I have to actually go in and do some serious blending. And this color is just egregious. It's just egregious. Now, she also is selling brushes, and most of them actually got the brush and they got the sponge. They all said the sponge was pretty awful. It was quite porous. And I don't know if it's the heat, you guys, or what, but this needs some blending in. Ooh. This is not working the same way it worked when I put it on earlier. It just, right here, it just skipped a beat. It is truly hot. And the last time I did this, I put on the foundation before I started to sweat. It was after I put on the foundation that I started to sweat. I'm gonna get this wet so we can smooth out everything. Okay. Look. Ooh, okay. I'm not sweating heavy, but I am starting to sweat. So I feel like I need to stop, stand in front of the fan for a few minutes, and come back because the foundation is not working as well as it did earlier. I just want to help this out a little bit because I did find the finger application this morning also needed a beauty blender. Oh, okay. Okay, I think I managed to fix that a little bit. I will say, in addition to the heat, yesterday about 5 miles away from me it was 121, and I don't have air conditioning, but there's a lot of fires, not necessarily near me, but last night and this morning it was actually orange outside, but the orangeness has abated as well. So I feel that what you're seeing here is a fairly good representation of the color, and this color is decidedly peach. It's not cool. And I'm going to show you the swatches one more time. I also did not intend to get this. It wasn't interesting at all. But when Mariah put it on, it really meshed with this foundation. It was like, if there was ever a foundation and concealer that were made to be together, this was it. This is thin. And take a look at this applicator. I'm going to hold it against this so you can see. It's pointed both ways, right? It's very unusual, but it's perfect for getting right in here. And I find doing a stretch rather than a dab is better on my crepey skin, and now I'll just dab as I go out. Now this is a little fussy to me. It is quite thin, but it needs to be blended, I think, with a beauty blender or your fingers. The brush doesn't really do it. And when I did it this morning, just when I went inside the corner, a lot came off and I had to redo it. And I'm not sure what that was about. So it's a teeny bit fussy. So use a light hand with that. I'd say the concealer is definitely not drying, which is a good thing. Their claims, really no claims, they're saying that skin-like finish for every skin type. Oily, dry, combo, normal. And it's medium coverage that is buildable. And that's all they're claiming, and really that's all it is. It does feel light on the skin, not as light as this, but it doesn't have a heavy feeling. I do think it is medium coverage. I do not know how it would work on other skin types. My skin type is normal to dry, and I put it all down below. I use a lot of moisturizers in the morning and a sunscreen. Today I use the green level, the Purito, which generally is something that works with everything, so there's usually never a problem with that. And although I feel like this is quite light, this is just one shade difference. When I did it this morning, it wasn't that bad, so I'm going to give it a little time to figure out what it's going to do. It's not too shiny, I don't think, but you know, remember the camera picks up shine in a different way, and any light coming on my face kind of emphasizes shine. But I feel that it's very skin-like, and the finish is very, very similar to this, but that is a better color for me. So this is set up. Usually I would do my eyes and then I would go ahead and finish my face, but it's hot. The fan is directly on me. So let's do some products and see how it works with. It's a cream, a little bit emollient from Charlotte Tilbury. You know, you guys, we've got some creasing in the eyes, in the trough, but putting this emollient on did not lift up any of the foundation. Now I'm going to go in with the Fenty. This is also cream, but the formulation is incredibly different. I don't feel that this is emollient. I feel that this is more dimethicone based. Hard to explain, but that's just my feeling. So I'm going to go a little pinker on the front of the cheeks. And I prefer to blend in creams with my finger because it just melts everything in and makes it look pretty seamless. I may have overdone it. That's okay. It's not about my look. It's about seeing how the products work. And now we're going to go in with a powder and see how it works with powders. I find this color is very pigmented. I put the smallest amount on and then take some off. And this is She's So LA. And I'm just doing the powder. And remember, I have not powdered the face. There we go. I'm going to do a little bit of a close-up from what I'm seeing. It's not picking up the foundation and it's blending in very nicely. Okay. I don't do this very often, but I finally got this contour. I've always wanted to try it. And I think this is the light one. I think it's a good color for contouring. It's not too cold and it's not too warm. I don't know why people contour their forehead, but okay. I do know why they contour the jowls. And Beauty Blender. Blends like a dream. I think the skin looks really nice. I do think it's possible this color is a little too light, and it has though kind of sunken in a little bit and it's not as light. It did crease. I haven't powdered yet because I'm testing how everything works without powder. And let's see, a little bit of highlight. The Charlotte Tilbury highlight, which is just such a pretty color. Now she did do highlighters, but they weren't interesting to me. One was like white, one of them was gold, and then there were a couple of pinks. And I just want something that looks good on my skin, like it looks like my skin. See how pretty? And this one for me is the perfect color. She also has lip products, which is really what I wanted to get when I went to Sephora last night. But the colors I wanted Joy in Blush, and I wanted Brave in the lip color, they were sold out. So there's a lot of interest in this. And at my Sephora, they have a very prime location. It's my understanding that they pay for their locations in the store, but they also have to have a certain amount of sales in order to stay in the store. So you've got a prime location. Don't remember who she kicked out, or if somebody left the store entirely. This is really receiving all the creamy products, the more liquidy products, and the powder products very, very nicely. It's just that this color is freaking peach. So let's do some powdering. And I think we're going to go in with the Rosy Light from By Terry. So let's just do a little in the forehead just to kind of push back the shine. I find that this powder is not mattifying. It'll just bring it down a notch. So when you first put it on, it's a little more mattifying, and 3 minutes later, there's a little bit more of a reflection quality. I don't like to shine right on the cheeks here. Now let's talk about the eyes. I'm going to have to go in again. For the trough, I'm going to go in right here, because this is such a small brush, you can hit it without removing it anywhere else. It's gotten a little crepey. Going in really, really lightly. I'm just trying to feather it out. And press and up, because I don't want to move it around as much as I want to uncrease it. Okay, and now powder. Wow, I think this looks super pretty, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. I think it has a very, very similar finish to the Reboot, absolutely, and it doesn't feel incredibly different than the Reboot. It might have more coverage than the Reboot, though. So if you like that Reboot but you want a little bit more coverage, maybe this is the way to go. The biggest problem with this is the colors. They suck. This is a very, very, very peachy color, and it's supposed to be cool. So the neutral color was extraordinarily warm, and I tried a warm color, which was just insane. So that for me is like the biggest problem. I love the finish. It takes the other products so nicely. It's just a weird color. I just feel like the depth of tone is good for me. I just need a neutral undertone, not this peachy stuff. And that's a problem. That's such a big problem. And it's really disappointing to see with a brand new line that they're making the same old mistakes. You know, if you're starting from scratch, do it right. Don't do that freaking Fitzpatrick scale. It makes me nuts. It's outdated. It's just, it has its medical, let's see, it has usefulness in dermatology, where they say this chemical or this procedure is good for Fitzpatrick scale, blah, 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 through blah, blah, blah. That's really important. Like if you're doing laser removal or certain kinds of acids, certain kinds of lasers, your skin tone really matters on the Fitzpatrick. But putting foundations, creating foundations based on Fitzpatrick instead of actually putting them on people's faces, I just feel like it's the wrong way to go. There's obviously a lot of money behind this line. They got a very good position in Sephora, and my Sephora is a neighborhood Sephora. Those are the smaller Sephoras that are not attached to malls, and they get less product. And the fact that they are getting a prime position means all the big stores are getting them as well. So if you have a lot of money behind the line, why not do it right out of the gate and really put foundations on people and look at who's missing and what you're doing wrong, because they're doing it wrong. It's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Because, you know, once you're out the gate, it's hard to go back. So I'm going to just keep on talking while I try to make a concoction on my lips. So I do still want to look at those lip colors and the blushes. As far as this foundation goes, it isn't drying. I think it's very pretty. I think the finish is great. I think products go on it great. My only problem is the color. The undertone of the color blows. And it's just up to you. If you actually find a match that really matches you, fantastic. I find, for me, if I'm going for something with coverage like the Reboot, it doesn't matter if the color's exactly right, because your skin's coming through a little bit, and there is your skin on your neck and your chest and your arms, your shoulders, they all kind of are in the same range, but the more coverage you have, the better the shade match has to be. And this does have more coverage. So, you know, this means pulling things down and getting your clothes stained, and I don't know. It's just such a disappointment to me that a brand new company just does that with their colors. But other than that, it's very comfortable and it's very pretty. So if you can find something that works for you, thumbs up. If you can't, write a letter to them. They just started. Maybe they'd be interested in doing it right. You never know. And that's going to do it for this one. In the coming days, I'm definitely going to do some blush and some lips because those are also interesting. I'm going to skip the highlighter. And I think that's about it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not a primer girl. And, oh, let's take a look at the under eyes. They look pretty decent. You have to powder it. You absolutely have to powder it. And that's it. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, be safe and smart, and I'm wishing you good health.